out.
So don't forget the mute buttons, everybody, by the way.
Rubbish, just ditch it.
Yeah. When actual people are reading, don't forget to mute your microphones, because it does help. Well,
George,
good evening. Yes, Jack.
Can you hear me and see me?
Well, you're wonderful. Yeah, you're coming through loud and clear. Thank you, Jack.
And you can see me too, can you? Good.
Yes, you can. You're fourth on the list as well, Jack. So
so hang in. Okay.
Yeah. So first of all, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Evening, George.
And then we've got Peter's kindly agreed to read poems for Gordon Thompson and Joe Sanders.
Okay.
So maybe we could kick off with that, Peter, if that's okay with you.
Right, I'll start with the one. Gordon asked me to read The Oxen by Thomas Hardy.
Okay.
I'll start with that. Particularly nice Christmas.
Everyone, mute buttons, mutes, yeah.
The Oxen. Christmas Eve and 12 of the clock. Now they are all on their knees, an elder said as we sat in a flock by the embers in a hearthside ease. We pictured them meek, mild creatures where they dwelt in their strawy pen, nor did it occur to one of us there to doubt they were kneeling then. So fair a fancy few would weave in these years. Yet I feel if someone said on Christmas Eve, come, see the oxen kneel in a lonely barton by yonder coombe our childhood used to know, I should go with him in the gloom, hoping it might be so. That was written in 1915. And now Joe Sanders' poem, which is, I think, hot off the printer, or her printer, Spaced Out. I think what I notice most is the noise penetrating my listening holes. I hear a wailing of words everywhere, always the same, celebrating a birth light years ago. What is this about? I think they themselves don't know. They don't hear as we do, wearing instead contraptions clamped to their heads, perhaps to protect them from sound waves, destructive in certain atmospheres. Their hole for communication is on the front of their globes, though mostly they use their thumb digits to signal, bizarrely only one on each side. So its function is more to receive objects constantly being inserted. Recently, they seem to be wearing a bandage, perhaps to prevent all this stuff getting in. They come together to wash everything down with much liquid to be safe, but perhaps it's not enough as they stagger and fall about a lot, especially when the sun has passed behind them. This condition is increasing with the approach of the strange festival. Their homing hubs have lately been transformed, almost like ours, ablaze with power, lights leaping to reach out to us where once there was dark. We've often felt them search for hours, yearning into the sky. I've heard love mentioned, but we don't have it. But I'm told it's a precious thing they give and receive at this time, even amid conflicting chaos, to remain beyond the now, into their forever and beyond. I'm told they like to live in bubbles, but there's no sign of any, at least not like the one that shields our great leader, Francis Sistadorus. This saves him from touching the same dust on which we walk. I can't wait to be called home.
Wonderful poem, Peter. Thank you. I like that. Very good, that one from Joe. It's lovely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Science fiction one.
Indeed. Thank you. I think it's Irma's turn now. Irma?
Thank you. I'm feeling a little bit mischievous tonight. So I've decided to read a poem called Ego Tripping. And it's by Nikki Govani. My daughter-in-law sent me this book some time ago, and it's called There Are Girls Like Lions. And I feel like a lion tonight, a very mischievous lion, so I'm reading here. Ego Tripping. I was born in the Congo. I walked to the Fertile Crescent and built the Phoenix. I designed a pyramid so tough that that only glows every 100 years fall into the center, giving the divine perfect light. I am bad. I sat on a throne drinking nectar with Allah. I got hot and sent an ice age to Europe to cool my thirst. My oldest daughter is Nefertiti. The tears from my birth pains created the Nile. I am a beautiful woman. I gazed on the forest and burned out the Sahara Desert with a pocket of goat's meat and a change of clothes. I crossed it in 2 hours. I am a Giselle, so swift you can't catch me. For a birthday present when he was 3, I gave my son Hannibal an elephant. He gave me Rome for Mother's Day. My strength flows ever on. My son Noor built New Ark, and I stood proudly at the helm as we sailed on a soft summer day. I turned myself into myself and was Jesus. Men intoned my loving name. All praise, all praises. I am the one who could save. I sowed diamonds in my backyard. My bowels delivered uranium. The filings from my fingernails are precious jewels. On a trip north, I caught a cold and blew my nose, giving oil to the Arab world. I am so hip, even my errors are correct. I sailed west to reach east and had to round off the earth as I went. The hair from my head thinned, and gold was laid across 3 continents. I am so perfect, so divine, so ethereal, so surreal. I cannot be comprehended except by my permission. I mean, I can fly like a bird in the sky. Thank you.
You got another one for us, Irma, somewhere?
I've got another one.
Right.
So I've got 2 poems from the New Forest, and this one is called Echoes 1. New rasta curls against the sky stretch up in unabashed watchfulness, sensing thoughts, watch from thousand eyes, human come with cameras and adoration in their eyes to capture love and memories. Wise trees, constant and unchanging, witness to the seasons, witness to the comings and goings sun, witness to fallen stars, witness to the fickleness of man. Wise unmoving sentinels, your spirit enter into my soul, and I know I should take care not to carry rape and murder on overindulgent hands. Hurricane fallen giants sprawl, vexed in lowly positions on the ground, past caring for fleshy bottoms and slipping feet sliding over their mossy backs. Your spirits call me friend and welcome my lover and me, in whose breast love begins to bloom in reds and burnished gulls to make the fallen leaves our bed. Icarus with other young ones competing to touch the sun We'll learn from older heads bowed in reverence. Lovers in embrace grow woodier together. Trees just being trees, laughing and whistling, curly, bendy, straight hands, up, out, in, up, down, black and brown and silver, bodies in ballet pose, dance with the wind. No wrapped up in vainglory trees, no sun lamp slaves on diet control, just trees being trees, fat and thick and big and weedy and spiky. I feel your spirit round me. I hear you speak. I hear you say, rest, friends, in the welcome of my wildness. Let my spirit distill your sweet essences from layers of imperfections, so the wild beast can draw close to you as in the first Eden. Thank you.
Right. Little clap there from Peter. A muted Peter. Right. I mean, we can unmute and just have a little chat between poems if everyone wants to, if you want to say anything.
I've unmuted.
Okay. Now,
Did you hear that?
yes, you've
Hello.
unmuted. We can all hear.
Thank you. Yes.
Oh, John's with us. Good evening, John.
Hello, yes, I've been here for a while now.
Get it, John.
Hello,
So
Ted.
I'll call John Sefton, John S, and you, John G, if that's okay. All right.
Yeah, that's
To avoid
fine.
any, but it happens to be John S's turn now. Mr. Sefton.
Okay, right. Well, I can't really compete with Irma's poems, but this is the Ballad of Easy Rider, written by Roger McGuinn, and it was written for the film Easy Rider, and it appears at the end of the film when the credits are rolling. The river flows, it flows to the sea. Wherever that river goes, that's where I want to be. Flow, river, flow, let your waters wash down. Take me from this road to some other town. All he wanted was to be free, and that's the way it turned out to be. Flow, river, flow, let your waters wash down. Take me from this road to some other town. Flow, river, flow, past the shady trees. Go, river, go to the sea. So that's the Ballad of Easy Rider. And I have actually got a poem based on the film, which you've heard before, but I'll read it again. So if anybody hasn't seen the film, it's about two sort of hippie guys riding chopper bikes from Los Angeles to New Orleans for the Mardi Gras. Made in 1969, so it's at the time of the Vietnam War. Okay, so Easy Riders. Easy Riders, firing engines, Harleys rolling, V-twins rumbling. Desert highways, sacred mountains, twisted roads to Mardi Gras. Southern rednecks, shotguns blazing, gas tanks flaming, spirits soaring. Easy Riders, finding freedom. I could read one more short poem if you want. Okay, now I think this poem fits the general air of things at the moment. It's called Revelation. So partly inspired by the book of Revelation in the Bible, which I don't believe in. I'm not a Christian, but it's partly inspired by it. Horsemen on the skyline, red silhouettes at dawn, hellhounds wailing, the pestilence, the plague, the hour of darkness, the end of days. That's it.
Right, thank you, John. You draw these lovely word pictures for us. Thank you. And you can always feel the heat and the dust of the desert, couldn't you? The Easy Rider poem. It's very nice.
Okay. Right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now, good evening. Good afternoon, Jack. Good evening.
Yes.
Jack, what have you got for us, please, Jack?
Well, I've been over to the Tate Gallery on Monday, reviewing the Turner exhibition, and very astonishing and beautiful it is too, and thought-provoking. And wondering how to start it, my mind went to William Cowper, written Cowper, C-O-W-P-E-R, who was one of the earliest of the Romantic poets. And sure enough, he gave me the perfect way in to looking at Turner's astonishing paintings. Now, he was a thing which is extremely fashionable today, more than it was in the early 19th century. He was a believer whose belief was a Christian believer whose belief was based on doubt. And with each doubt comes a greater strength of understanding. If you turn it gently enough, you get to a new understanding of essential things. And so I after I'd finished and submitted the review, which will be up on Seen and Heard International tomorrow or the day after, I've forgotten how wonderful Cowper was. Like all of you, I think, we knew a lot of him through having a great place in the hymn book. So I got the hymn book done, and I thought I'd make my two offerings tonight to Cowper poems, which you may, in fact, be familiar with. Okay? Here's the first. Sometimes a light surprises the Christian while he sings. It is the Lord who rises with healing in his wings. When comforts are declining, he grants the soul again a season of clear shining to cheer it after rain. In holy contemplation, we sweetly then pursue the theme of God's salvation and find it ever new. Set free from present sorrow, we cheerfully can say, e'en let the unknown morrow bring with it what it may. It can bring with it nothing, but he will hear us through. Who gives the lilies clothing will clothe his people too. Beneath the spreading heavens, no creature but is fed, and he who feeds the ravens will give his children bread. Though vine and fig tree neither their wonted fruit should bear, though all the fields should wither, nor flocks nor herds be there, yet God the same abiding, his praise shall tune my voice, for while in him confiding, I cannot but rejoice.
Thank you, Jack. It's very nice. Well read. You have another Cowper for us?
Yeah, do you want another Cowper right away?
Yes, yes, please. That'll be fine.
I've got several of them actually, and this one will be familiar to you again from the hymn book. Just a second, let me turn to it. God moves in a mysterious way. Do you remember that one?
Yes, indeed.
So let's have that then. God moves in a mysterious way his wonders to perform. He plants his footsteps in the sea and rides upon the storm. Deep in unfathomable mines of never-failing skill, he treasures up his bright designs and works his sovereign will. Ye fearful saints, fresh courage take, the clouds ye so much dread are big with mercy and shall break like blessings on your head. Judge not the Lord by feeble sense, but trust him for his grace. Behind a frowning providence, he hides a smiling face. His purposes will ripen fast, unfolding every hour. The bud may leave a bitter taste, but sweet will be the flower. Blind unbelief is sure to err and scan his work in vain. God is his own interpreter, and he will make it plain. Oh, I can't hear you.
That's
That was great.
No, I can't hear you. Have you got your sound switched off?
It's very lovely, Jack. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
It's
very
very
nice.
nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're muted, George.
Yes.
oh, that says. Am I still muted?
No, you're all right now.
I've got
Oh.
you.
It's okay
Yes.
now.
Okay. Thank you for that. Sorry about that. Right, we're gonna go to the wonderful island of Dominica now and see Jane.
Hmm.
I hope. Jane?
It's better now. Sorry about that. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Jane.
I've got some seasonal poems, as it were, to do with Christmas Eve. I used to love Christmas as a child, and more, I don't like Christmas. I don't like what it's become, sheer commercialism. It's even worse in Dominica, commercial. Take a loan for $10,000 to give your child a fun Christmas, really annoying. So anyway, honestly. So this one is called Christmas Eve, Delice. Delice was my village, the village of my childhood. The haunting strains of an accordion band, the newly scraped, gleaming red earth of the yard, the colorful strip of brand new linoleum adorning the wood floor, the pervasive smell of freshly slaughtered meat roasting upon the coal pot. Yes, Christmas had come. The village bathed in moonlight, a country road with ghostly shadows dancing, the thumping of hurrying feet to midnight mass, urged on by pealing bells. Back home from church, no Christmas tree or well-wrapped presents, perhaps a top or tin whistle for the boys, and for the girls, a sixpenny doll, fragile in her white nakedness, on whose behalf we scavenged discarded bits of cloth in an effort to redeem her modesty. In the early hours, we feasted on beef soup and barley, gorged on sweets bought with our precious pennies.
Okay.
Some of us stole a sip of sweet cherry brandy from an indulgent grown-up's glass. Sheer bliss, matched only by the pleasure of drifting off to sleep to the crooning of a lone caroling minstrel, serenading every house in the hope of food and drink. And if lucky enough to find an opening door or two, he wasted little time pondering motives of pity or generosity, for on that special night, and perhaps for one night only, our village wore a soft halo, almost akin to the little town of Bethlehem's. Now this one's
Wow. I can see that being over there, Jane, is doing your poetry a wonderful amount of good. It's lovely. Thank you. Next one, please.
This is Christmas Eve, Rosa. Rosa is the capital. So when I left my village to go to secondary school, I had to be boarding at a family's house. And this is my experience of Christmas Eve in Roseau. The throng rushes round on this last and most important shopping day. Eyes distracted, children clutch shopping bags, bursting with presents to be wrapped. Should I buy this or that? The parents smile indulgently. From a shop window, a pink-faced, white-bearded Santa grins encouragement, eyes crinkled in a conspiratorial wink. The entire front is festooned in snowflakes. The temperature, a mere 85 degrees. I clutch a minutely folded $10 bill between damp fingers and blink back unwanted tears. Empty-handed, I retrace my steps, a tightness in my guts. Meanwhile, back at my lodging house, a large ham on the bone simmers on the stove. Hot loaves of crusted bread are on the dresser. As to a rich, rum-soaked fruitcakes, piping hot from the oven, designed to melt upon the tongue. Up on a shelf, a demijohn of day-old ginger beer gently settles. Bottles of sorrel, spiced with cinnamon and cloves, catch the light, ruby red and pleasing to the eye, much like the profusion of poinsettias in gardens everywhere, claiming the rightful place at the hearth of Christmastide. Later at midnight mass that night, my humble village church is replaced by an imposing cathedral, all golden lights and candle holders gleaming, expensive dresses on display, rustle and swish, fit for a world-class fashion show, while the choir from the rostrum effortlessly imitates a host of angels. Hearts swell and beatific faces lift, perhaps in equal measure, to the gods of Mammon as to the God of heaven. A bunch of urchins tease the drunk lolling in the back pew. He utters a string of profanities at which outraged grandees jerk in his direction, 1,000 eyes shooting daggers. Meanwhile, the waifs, pictures of innocence, heads bowed, kneel respectfully. Up front, in a special little alcove, lies the crib, where baby Jesus, Mary and Joseph, sheep and shepherds, look forlorn, a touch incongruous, rather like puzzled gate crashers at their own party. And I've got two other short ones. That's Christmas Eve, New York, very short. It's Christmas time in the city. Heaving sidewalks, frenzied shoppers, dazzling lights on Christmas trees, cash tills ringing, songs extolling sleigh bells, snow and Santa. Christ, invisible, not there. In the frenzied big day homage, even midnight mass is rushed, and the church in Little Italy on that cold and frosty night stays devoid of joy or comfort. No cheer of angels there. Call me Scrooge if you so choose, but Christmas Eve in that big city belongs unequivocally to those adept at peddling comfort and joy, to rainbow chasers, more than willing, if less able, to pay for the privilege. And the last one, Christmas Eve, London. Too cold to venture out to midnight mass tonight, so I don't go. And anyway, carols from an ancient record player just don't do the trick. For a time, the excitement in the children's eyes, dancing in time to the flickering of Christmas lights, is quite contagious, as will be their enthusiasm and gratitude towards the modest gifts of colored pencils, watercolors, and drawing pads. One daughter has put up the tree, while the other helped to bake the fruitcake, its rich smell intoxicating from the kitchen. For quite a while now, for quite some time now, no joy from Christmas trees, nor the pleasure of cake making, for there's an empty chair where the cake maker used to sit. My gifts to her most likely ended in the dustbin. I have no way of knowing. And so as not to wax unduly sad over things as they now are, I retire early on Christmas Eve and pray for unbroken sleep till morning.
Wow, thank you, Jane. I mean, I don't know what other people thought, but you actually took us there, you know, with the demijohn of ginger beer and the sorrel, you know, the sour. It was wonderful.
I didn't mention the rum, but there's rum somewhere.
Yeah. But thank you for that, and it's a lovely. I love the contrast between the big cities and Dominica. It's amazing. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Shall we move on to Alan now, please? Alan.
Hi there. As some of you know, Georgia and I and a few other people have been doing some poems where we get the first and last line and then we kind of fill in the big blank or short blank, depending on how the mood takes you. So this is one of those poems. It's called Implications. The old man's beard in the hedgerow was highlighted by the sun, just like the grey flecks in the beard of the man foraging behind bushes. He felt like he'd walked 1,000,000 miles from an unknown time and distant past. Summer had been kind, warm and not too wet. There was plenty of food from the land if you knew where to look. He couldn't remember how he got here and didn't want to know. His life had been put on red, but it had came up black, blacker than the dirt under his nails, yet he felt at one with nature. Somewhere in this maelstrom, he had taken a life out of necessity to survive. It was part of his training, yet he hadn't reckoned on its implications. He thought war had desensitized him, but he was unable to let this incident go. The early autumn wind rustled leaves and twigs. In November, after the chestnut season, he would leave his camp and return to the comfort and warmth of shop doorways in town, to live on the wasted excesses of its people. In the meantime, the leaves are changing their colours and the berries are losing their blush. Thank you.
That's great. Do you want to do another one, Alan, or are you happy for?
Okay, this one's a real hot off the press one. I was up at 5 o'clock this morning writing this. I think I must have watched the news once too many times this week. So this is called Government Warning. Laughter, along with being loud, can create a corona cloud, sending particles through the air, indicating you don't care. But if you try to stay calm, no one near you will come to harm. So by being miserable, there is potential to save us all. But it's difficult at this time of year because we should be spreading Christmas cheer. But this year there is no chance of that. So don't put on your party hat and don't turn on your Christmas lights. Stay at home and just sit tight. If jollity does start to spread, restrain yourself, go back to bed. That way the virus will slow down and you can remove your worn out frown. Then with emotions back on track, we can thwart COVID attack and we can lead a normal life, free from boredom, free from strife. With no one now to pull our crackers, Christmas now will lay in tatters. So don't forget, enjoy Christmas on your own because COVID is spread by ho, ho, ho.
Well put. Thank you.
Very nice.
Very good.
Excellent.
Well done, Alan. That was lovely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really good.
I've written quite a few about COVID and it's a good way
Very
of getting
good.
it off my chest. I'm sure
Absolutely.
I've done the same. Thank you.
Therapeutic. So can we move over to Coventry and say hello to John? Good evening, John.
Good evening. Good evening. A couple of items on sale at auction. First thing, the universe. We're auctioning the universe. See just what it's worth. Anybody like to make a bid for planet Earth? There's a couple in the corner. Look just like me and you. Haven't come to make a bid. Just come to see the view. There's a buyer up from Lucifer and feeling rather rash, opens up the bidding with 30 pieces cash. His rival makes an offer. Is he understood? Not money, just a bag of nails and a couple of bits of wood. And the couple in the corner, no wonder they look pale. The other two decided to include them in the sale. Item number 2, a porcelain model. A perfect model, early 21st century, Northwest European, offshore, teeth white as a chalk cliff. Discovered later, on closer inspection, the wording British made stamped on the bottom. And having you about the house is good. It's cheaper on the electricity. When you walk in, you brighten up the place. You're warmer than a 2-bar fire. With you for breakfast, lunch and tea. I hardly use the cooker anymore. Having you beside my skin is good. It's cheaper on the clothing. I've cut my journeys to the launderette since we began to wrap ourselves in such a simple fashion. Having you makes me feel real good. Having you makes me feel real. Having you makes me feel. Having you makes me having you.
Thank you, John. Wonderful.
Thank you, John.
Cheers.
Yeah, I think we all enjoyed that one.
Very lovely.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. I like the way you kind of ranged over from issues around the Bible and God and religion. You brought it all the way around to two people, and it's in a very warm way. Thank you, John.
Yeah, well, when I wrote it, God knew what it meant. Now God only knows.
Well, it's very good we've got Sue on the screen because it's your turn now, Sue.
Right, thank you. Thank you. I've tried to make a winter theme to these. I'm going to do 3 short poems because I won't stay for the second half, but these are kind of winter themes. So the first one's called Kintsugi, which is, if you don't know what that means, it's the Japanese art of mending pottery with the golden seam. So the broken thing actually looks quite beautiful rather than just trying to make it. So it's Kintsugi. Almost winter, but the leaves are stubborn. The gist of it seems wrong. Birds are shrieking, flirting. Something's broken, out of true. The sky is inscribed by senseless flight, lukewarm and sullen as a bruise. What's needed is a shock of snow. You hide your scars like I do. We might not be beyond repair. Let's keep the broken pieces safe, close wrapped in autumn. One day we'll lay them out, see what goes where. That's one. And the next one, this has been a terrible Christmas, but last Christmas was my worst Christmas of ever, because 2019 was my worst year ever. And I wrote this poem about Christmas last year. And this is exactly how I felt. It's called Analgesic. You go out and people stare. Your hair is seaweed and your skin is clay. The rain is cold, your coat is damp. This pain across your back will not let up. You want to punch someone. Your mood is grey. You buy all the painkillers that Sainsbury's can sell. Grab toilet paper, bottle of red wine, big issue shelters in a doorway on a towel. You circumnavigate her long black skirt, her rose gold teeth. She grins for England. What has happened here? The last 10 years, this place has been licked dry. A postage stamp that's lost all traces of cohesion. Second class. Shaved ever thinner, badly barbered. Now the cuts are bleeding everywhere. The Christmas lights are on all day. Generic, inoffensive, meaningless. You turn your ankle on a pothole, almost hit the dog turds crouched beneath the KFC. You hurry home, press out 2 tablets, make yourself a cup of tea. And then when it's really bad, sometimes you have an intervention. Someone comes or something happens which makes things a bit better. And this is my poem about this. It's called Angel. You text me at my deepest hour. Soft pulse of wings, transmuted air, flint winter purity of falling light. A stained glass window catches fire, magenta, topaz, indigo. I reread your invitation like an opening chord, preludium. And I am salvaged by your perfect pitch, your precise beat, your slant of sun. You are my consolation, turning up the way you have, riddling out this burnt and blackened year, and I can't ask for more. Spring will come, I know that now, the white magnolias. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Very nice.
Amazing.
Lovely,
Three
thank you very much.
Great.
Yeah, very nice.
Sue, that was 3 poems and they all hit the spot. Wonderful.
Thank you very much, because that's winter, and
Absolutely.
this is this year as well, and let's hope next year is better for us all.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Great poetry. Great poetry.
Thank you.
Mohammed, can we have Mohammed?
Wonderful.
Yay.
AKA Father Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Hello. Hello,
Hi,
everyone,
Mohammed.
and Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. 'Tis the merry season. Right.
The stage is yours, sir.
I'll start with yes, thank you very much. I'll reel off 3 pieces, and I'll start with rather older one, which is
Who are we going to, please? Okay.
sorry.
So I need to.
Oh yes, yeah. So this is in remembrance of John Lennon, whose 40th death anniversary was the 8th of December. For John, your smile on the photos meant you were happy and everyone wanted. No one threw away your dreams and idealism, as everyone wanted to peace ago. From birth in Liverpool to the day you died in New York, you spread gladness. We don't smile at your exit. We never can. Only after tears, a smile of fond remembrance.
Lovely, Mohammed. That was very nice.
Thank you. And this is abstract. My abstract aims to study the abstract, which should not abstract and leave a person in the dark. The design of the study is designed to refine rather than to defame or quarantine. My major findings are here listed. 1, we can't see or hear. 2, we can't feel. 3, they don't care. Trends that I deal with include: 1, no one is aware. 2, no one believes anybody is aware. 3, no one seems to know. I hope you enjoy reading this and the subsequent paper.
Right. Have you got another one for us? Or is that
Little song. Silent nights, holy nights, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant, tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, shepherds quake at the sight, glory stream from heaven afar, heavenly hosts sing hallelujah, Christ the Savior is born, Christ the Savior is born. One of my favorites from my school days. We used to sing in the assembly. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Lovely, lovely singing. Well done, Mohammed.
Thank you, Sue. Yours is pretty good too. George, any remarks? George? Hello? George?
I was muted, yes. Sorry, I was muted.
No problem.
Enjoyed the song. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Very seasonal. Can we move over to Norman then?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me, George?
Yes, that's fine. Yeah.
Loud and clear. Well, only yesterday, I drove past a ladies' boutique, which I've been doing at least once a week for the last 21 years. And about 12 years ago, I wrote this very short poem, and it had a line in it. It has survived the economic divorce of the country, which was run about the 2008 crash. Well, blow me, as I passed it yesterday, it's got the let signs up. You know, it looks like lockdown's got hold of them and they're out of business. So I thought, well, I've got to read this. So this was 12 years ago. It's called Riche, R-I-C-H-E. That was the name of the boutique, Riche. Perfectly formed, like the dress in the window, stands Riche, a corner boutique. What secrets does it hold, and what tales could it tell? It has survived the economic divorce of the country. In the elegant dress window, taking pride of place, a weekly choice of couture, color and design, sometimes sequenced, spangled and seasonal, but always displayed with class. The cut, the look, the style have women traveled the extra mile. A corner boutique in the corner of the mind of mysterious women in search of the perfect dress and lots more. Thank you. Right. The next one is short, sharp, and direct. It's called Let Me Meet. Let me meet the loggers who chop the forest down so I can show them natives who've never seen a town. Let me meet the traffickers who sell young girls by the pound so I can show them where they end up like strays lost and found. Let me meet the ministers who play their party political games so I can show them that all lives matter with multicultural names. Let me meet the person who's willing to accept that I strip away their wealth and home. I fear forever I shall roam. Thank you.
Great stuff, Norman. Like that.
Right, so the last one, I haven't converted into rhyme. It's a narrative, and Sue very kindly gave me good feedback when I read The Big House about 4 weeks ago, and Sue, that got me thinking. So this is something in a similar vein. Incidentally, there are 2 Sue Waters books at the bottom of my Christmas tree for me to open on Christmas Day. Right, so this one is called sugar in the morning. It was close to supper time. The dusk was biting the expiring daylight when I heard a husky voice outside singing, "Sugar in the morning, sugar in the evening, sugar at supper time." Then a tap at the door. I was 7.5 years old and snuggled up against Mum's apron as she opened the farmhouse door. In the bad light, there stood a sight. An old man with heavy stubble, unclean, grimy, weather-beaten face, inquisitive but non-friendly dark chestnut eyes. He was reeking of clay pipe tobacco. He wore a grey greatcoat which hung with a musty odour. A frayed herringbone scarf stuck out of his left pocket. He stood in ragged, patched navy blue corduroy trousers, grubby boots, splitting at the uppers with odd laces, all topped with a faded trilby hat with what looked like a moth-eaten brim. With my schoolboy imagination fueled, I recognised him as Bill Sykes from Oliver Twist. By coincidence, Miss Maitland, my teacher, had read us Oliver Twist, studying the characters and describing Bill Sykes only the day before. And here he was on our doorstep. "Is the man about the house?" he wheezed. My mum was clever and replied, "How can we help you?" "I just need a roof over my head for tonight. The weather is turning for the worse. The barn will do. I won't strike a match." Mum replied, "Go into the barn and my husband will see to you later." As Mum closed the door, I caught a glimpse of his goods and chattels. It looked like he had a small rolled up canvas or tent with a sleeping bag poking out. Hanging from some baler twine, a small kettle and tin mug. The door closed. I was scared as I heard the clank of metal fade away down our garden path. As our gate banged shut, I could faintly hear his signature tune. "Sugar in the morning, sugar in the evening, sugar at supper time." Next morning, being Saturday, I slept late. I had been dog-tired the night before. Eventually, awakening from my slumbers, I sat up and read a few pages of my Eagle Annual before scampering downstairs. Mum had already set the table for my breakfast and carefully placed 2 eggs in the bubbling pan to boil. The aga was glowing inside. Toast was on its way, ready to be devoured with chunks of butter. "Sleep well, Mum asked." "Like a log," I replied. I was learning parents' language. "Where's Dad?" "He's out in the fields ploughing," she replied. "The seagulls and lapwings are going crazy for the worms." There was a long pause. Then she said, "Last night was strange." "Yes," I said, "he was a bit spooky, that man. Looked like Bill Sykes out of Oliver Twist." Mum laughed and acknowledged my reasoning. Another pause. "No," she said. "When Dad went up to the barn just after you went to bed, he wasn't there." "Who, Bill Sykes?" I exclaimed. "Yes." Dad searched high and low, front and back of the barn, but there was no sign of him. No flattened straw, no footprints in the mud, only the strong smell of clay pipe tobacco. Thank you.
Wow, a winter ghost story. Well done, Norman. You create these lovely, narratives. Wonderful. Thank you.
I've been thinking these have started off, meant to be rhyme, proper poems, but partly driven by the big house. I just let it flow, and there you have it.
There's a big place for narrative poems, because when they're as interesting as that and as detailed. Thank you.
It's a kind of a prose poem, isn't it? Really,
yes.
Norman, and that's the perfect thing. It's lovely. It's a good thing. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, not easy to do in an that in a way that holds people's attention. So thanks for that. Anne,
you.
good evening,
Yes.
Anne.
Winter. There's something wrong with November. It's heavy and leaden and grey, with no promise of anything good. Words stud down on the page and lie there like misshapen biscuits made with unrisen dough. Or lumpen, they lie in the head and refuse to come out at all. It picks up a bit in December. The lights go on in the towns, and the shortest day marks the turning towards a new waking year. But by then we're too busy to sit and wait for the words to come out, and they're occupied writing the letters, the cards and the labels and lists. So it's best to close down the season and harvest the parties and fun and lay them up for the time when the words will again venture out, prepared to dance on the paper and sing with the coming of spring. Which is just my excuse for not writing anything at the moment. Endgame. When she woke, it was to the sound of voices, young but grown up, chatting somewhere nearby. Watching at my bedside, she thought, waiting for me to leave them together. And she drifted away into a youth when she was the watcher beside another bed, awaiting a death, but not impatiently, though without much sadness, since that woman was old too. She had her time, just like me now, she thought. But inside her head, she was walking, she was singing in young woman's sunshine, where the trees cast shadows on the woodland floor, giving no thought to twilight and darkness or the end of the day. Sorry to be so gloomy, this is a poem about dementia, called Morning Thoughts. Waking, I'd suddenly no idea who, where I was, or the time, or the day. It was shocking. It was terror. What must they feel who wake each morning, knowing that soon, for all their lives to come, they'll be like that? And what of those to whom it's happened, and on whom this blanket unknowing sits every day, who never recognize those who most love them, never know why they're there, adrift on an ocean of blankness? Terrors this must bring. For me, the moment ended in a sudden rush of recognition and delight. For them, it never will.
Wow.
Excellent.
Thank you, Anne.
Very nice. Very nice.
You have this capacity to move us, Anne. I don't know why, but you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is probably why we need to follow up with Jim. Jim, you're muted, I think. You're muted, Jim.
No, he's not. No, he's not. He's not muted.
Jim's muted now.
No, he's
Yeah.
muted.
No, he was just very, very quiet before.
Oh, I see.
Right, he was
My
unmuted.
volume. Well, volume up to full. Jim, we can't hear you. No, it's very, very faintly.
Really gone wrong then. It's 100%. It says.
It's improving.
I'll just. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. That's it.
Right, it's my microphone. It's just completely up the spout. So you can hear me quite loudly now. Yeah,
that's fine.
My father was Sergeant Major, and I probably wouldn't particularly like this poem, but you know, you can't please everybody. It's called The Recruitment Office, A Soldier's Tale. A coarse-looking man with broad shoulders and lots of shiny buttons is talking to me. It's late in the day and he's been drinking. Know what I learned in the army, son? Courage, loyalty and discipline, sir? No, something more important than that. Might that be integrity in all things, sir? He shakes his head, frowns at the ceiling, then says, I learned to protect my rear end at all times. I'm sorry, sir, I didn't quite catch that. I learned to guard my posterior shrine. Noting my discomfiture, his face softens. If you do decide to become a soldier, you may well come across a few psychotics, various initiation rituals, bee stings, for instance. He reaches for a glass, knocks its contents back. Do you think you've got what it takes to deal with this? Have you any questions you wish to ask? You may talk to me as one chap to another. I blink, thinking, what on earth is going on? Is this some kind of manliness test? He hiccups and glances at his watch. I try not to let him see that I'm nervous. I'm a bit worried about my todger, sir. What if it's not up to standard when I meet the woman of my dreams? Would there be any special training to help me with this? He gets to his feet and looks me in the eye. This is the army, son. It's not for pimps, time wasters, or jokers. If you want that, I suggest you join the civil service instead. Then he gives a belch, collapses in a stupor. The smell of drink rises to my nostrils. Sir, I whisper, is this interview over? That's a sort of homage to my father.
Sorry, I've got a hysterical Irma on my hands now, Jim.
Very good, very good.
It's a homage to my father. I don't think you appreciate it very much, but this one is, the second one is after John Donne, you know, is one about the flea. You know, sort of like, it's called To Your Crowning Glory, after John Donne. I'd like to be a head louse who crawls amidst your hair, feels the rhythm of your blood as you sit down on a chair. When you stare into your mirror, I'd frolic in your scalp, 2 tiny particles of skin as you dust yourself with talc. I'd fetishize about your comb and wish your comb was me. I'd find you irresistible. You'd be my virgin queen. Your flesh is so becoming, you'd never be alone. I'd be your lovesick pilgrim, your head my sacred home. The world is large, the sea is bright, my thirst for you is great. We were sent by God to multiply and swarm through heaven's gates. Yes, I'd like to be the parasite who goes with you upstairs. I'd colonize your pillowcase. Don't ever wash your hair.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jim.
Really good.
I'll try and get this speaker sorted out sometime.
Yeah. Well, it was worth waiting for, I can assure you. Now we're waiting for Mr. Ted Smith Orr, who I can see.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Ted,
good.
that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I made the mistake of pressing the wrong button on my computer wanting to update itself. And I thought if I pressed, it came up over our own pictures. And I thought if I let it update itself, I could press the back picture and it would come through. I was wrong. It didn't. So what I've had to do is I've got you on my iPad now. So hard luck, you couldn't get rid of me.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, we're all listening, Ted.
Okay then. Do you know what does puzzle me is I can't remember what I read at the end of last week. So if anyone should remember, if you're recording it, I can't see the point of recording them twice. That's even if they get recorded once. Anyway, here we go. Evening 2009, also known as rant number 5. Somewhere between the landslide of interminable work and housing payments, everlasting bills of electricity, water, and gas from Russian crooks, the day's events are recollected and regurgitated by each individual of a large family, excluding the youngest, who speaks teenage, an elongated Germanic Caribbean language so foreign we need an interpreter. I answer the telephone, and the voice of silence gives me an overwhelming sympathy for heroin addicts, or it's a voice from Asia selling me something I already have, or not selling me something that I definitely do not want, while eating my evening meal. As I undertake intensive sofa studies, all that I ever dreamed of, a customer calls, asking if I can work for them. I frown the frown of tiredness while smiling horses' teeth and promises to an unknown ear too near for my comfort. My bank has merged with another that's gone under, and they have cut our overdraft to pay their debt. The mortgage has increased and my paychecks are in the post. The credit crunch arrived here before subprime mortgages was even a cliche, and Woolworths was a place you avoided like the plague. Between all this, the income tax is still outstanding and the VAT man wants his money back. And between all this, there is time to write a poem.
Nice.
Isn't it?
Commentary on modern life there, Ted.
Well, that's it. Yes, it's funny, as it says, that was written in 2009. Hasn't changed. The problems haven't changed since then, have they?
No, indeed.
They've been added to.
Do you want to do another one, or are you happy
Yeah,
now?
if you can suffer another one, I'll go for
Yes,
another one.
we'd love another one, Ted.
Okay, darling, you're very kind. This is called LBC Home Services Rent number 4. It was obviously 2009 was the rent period. We have conversations about cardboard. Is it this week they collect the bottles and tins, or is it paper only? We slip the cardboard in. I'll check. I think it's only rubbish bins. We converse about tins and plastic bottles. Do we mix them both together, or do they go in a separate plastic box? We wash the tins, but not in our machine. We could die of AIDS or vertigo. The postman's late today and the newspaper's delayed due to snow at Upper Wapping, and the trains are all held up. We pay the papers weekly as the cost amounts so much. We think the milkman's on the fiddle, but I think that he's corrupt. He's got a website now, full of offers, but not up to much. Is it 1 or 2 pints daily? Have we paid him, dear? Do you know, I've never seen him. Oh, I did once when I was late, but one of us was drunk, and he wasn't very clear. We have conversations about cardboard, about the price of milk going up, and wish we was teenagers promenading almost naked in the cold, worrying about important things like records, films, and clothes. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're not getting
Nice
any more. That's a lot.
Nice one, Ted.
Right. I'm still, my updates are only on 20%, so this could be, don't know what it could be. Anyway, you were going on to someone else, or have I got to keep busking it?
Busking.
The music, George.
Peter, you should feel very proud of me. I actually managed to negotiate my way on the iPad with your instructions and come up with our Zoom program on the iPad.
Wonders will never cease.
You're muted, George.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm unmuted now. So it's Peter now, I think.
I'm going to read a couple of poems by E.J. Scavell. course, cover. The tree on Christmas Eve. All things that beam like water and like snow, faceted glance and sparkle, cover the little spruce tree. Frosty rivers flow along its branches, weighted over as if by snow's lax watery load, by clasps of candles and hung moons of glass. A stranger in the room, yet the room's heart and its cold silver midnight hearth. Candles unlit, yet streams of light flow out. The tree one flower, like moonlit earth, flower without face, yet does tonight possess the face's flower, the crown of singleness. And power cut. Without a word, the light dropped, and the radio voice fell sheer to silence. So by fires and torches light, and curtains opened on unnatural, natural night, clouded and starry. On the top shelf, another year's dusty candle I have found and lit. And there it burns, I wish forever, making within its range an unassertive harmony, yet slightly strange, subtle and mild and strange, with the dark and the fire. No light to read by, nor no extrinsic voice. We can talk or dream in silence like the fire, like the flowers in the candle's web, like the very old. I think of powers failing, my generation aging, dying, gone. And think those happy who have candle light and coals to modify and charm the dark when the power fails.
Thank you, Peter. Something to think about with that one, that last one, especially. I'd better, right, I'm going to finish up with a sonnet and a pantoum. Now, I better get this sonnet right because everyone here knows every word of it, I'm pretty sure. So, Sonnet 18. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometimes declines by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. Yes, quite nice that. The next one is mine, and it's kind of recollections on a childhood memory, and it's called In Hawkhurst, Kent. The golden children of summer rode across the bumpy stubbled field, high on the wagon's swaying load, a harvest of the Kentish weald. Across the stubbled bumpy field, high piled with grass and clover, a harvest of the Kentish weald in the twilight of a day near over. High piled with grass and clover, the laughing boys will feel no gloom. In the twilight of a day near over, they stay bright as poppies in full bloom. The laughing boys will feel no gloom. High on the wagon's swaying load, they stay bright as poppies in full bloom. The golden children of summer rode. Okay, break time.
Very good, George.
Right. So we
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
Right. Well, I really enjoyed this dozen
Lovely.
poems. Yeah. We've been a baker's dozen today, haven't we? Actually, well, by proxy, we've been 14 because Peter read 2 other poets.
Well, that's all right. I was trying to get my way back in, so it's still 30.
Yeah.
George, I won't stay for the second half, but
No,
thank you
I did
very
pick up
much.
that,
And And happy Christmas to everybody. I hope you have a good time
Happy Christmas.
as much as we can. And I'll see you in the new year.
Yeah.
Thank you for that wonderful,
Thank you for-
wonderful trilogy of poems.
Thank you.
Sue.
Thanks for so much. It's been lovely. I've been really enjoyed the whole thing. It's been lovely. So take
Great.
care, everybody.
See you next year.
I'll see you soon. Yeah, take care. Bye.
All the best. All the best.
Bye. Bye.
All the best, Sue.
Mother, you father well. You keep the family and 2 dogs on the monthly checks and keep the rent man in good humor while you juggle to buy some food. You still remember washing up liquid to make the house smell sweet. But how to pay the milkman when the other sharks are at the door? And where and how and what to now? The electric man is knocking, the bank man is calling, the bailiff man is coming. I will rent my resources out in the name of love. I know some men won't stay too long, while others making sure the grass that is greener will not stain suburbia, respectability. Careful that sweat of furtive passion from sweet illicit union will not tell secrets of the night. Mother, you father well, tarnish is your honor, womanness is your praise. I think I've especially chosen, you know, that poem and poems to read about, you know, my life that I had when I was a single parent bringing up my children, because of what's going on in the media with this this young man, Mr. Rushford,
Marcus Rushford.
And it has brought up so many memories of you know, being there. And I remember my son telling me, like, you know, like every month, you know, I'll buy food, and the first week, you know, the cupboard is full of food, and by the second week there's nothing there. You know, so I don't know, this has it's really a very sort of serious well, it used to be a serious problem for one parent families, and I just hope it gets better. Right, I shall read this one is called Journey Through My Mother. And my mother and I never had a good relationship, but now that I'm older, and you know, I'm 72 now, and mommy's 90.
I love it.
Now mommy's 92 years old, and I'm understanding her more and more and more. So this poem for me sort of like, you know, sort of gives some kind of my understanding of my mother and what she went through, and I've called it Journeying Through My Mother. 40 years on bended knee in the community of slaves, washed clean of self in spilled blood, imbibing colonial purity. In the beginning, I drank the gall of 400 years and more. The world was created. The first man walked the earth in Europe. I now drink the gall from the well of revelation of things past, things present, and things yet to come, and meet myself and know my mother, who never married the father of her children, the butcher, then the baker, then the fisherman who put the fire out, the preacher man light inside her soul. She did cut some style when she dared with the big shot policeman. And now she have cry water in she eye when she's saying to the backer man, put a little something in me hand now. Give me a little meat. Put a little bread in the child mouth now, Massa Joe. Where me picnic feed? George Lamin linked my consciousness to Mama's little indiscretions and to my survival through her politics of food, of class, of skin. 40 years and waking up in the revolution to ancestral drums, to the message in the pans. The spirits of the prophets move me with the word, the richness of my culture as the mosaic unfold, leave me with a feeling that is castor oil good. All around the pioneers, clear out all the cassie trees and torch my mind to reclaim the beauty and the truth of indomitable slave warriors. 40 years and running fast to join Alice Walker in search of all my mothers. Thank you.
Right,
Very
thank
good.
you, Irma.
Very good, Irma.
Lots of applause there. Now, where are we now? Jack, are you still with us? Yes, you are. Jack. Mr. Buckley, can you hear us? You're muted. You're muted. Can't hear you, Jack.
You're muted, Jack.
How's that?
That's it. Hole in one.
I was just eating a bit of sushi, but I can interrupt you to get back to poetry. So here's another George Herbert. And what I find extraordinary is, maybe you tell me, maybe it's just my imagination. He seems to be reading the same newspapers as me, where the headlines all have to do with a pandemic or Brexit. And there's a helping hand being held out with it. Of course, it doesn't name any of those two things, but it's very much a sentiment behind the helping hand that he's trying to give us. Hark, my soul, it is the Lord, 'tis thy Saviour, hear his word. Jesus speaks and speaks to thee. Say, poor sinner, lovest thou me? I delivered thee when bound, and when bleeding healed the wound. Sought thee wandering, set thee right, turned thy darkness into light. Can a woman's tender care cease towards the child she bare? Yes, she may forgetful be, yet will I remember thee. Mine is an unchanging love, higher than the heights above, deeper than the depths beneath, free and faithful, strong as death. Thou shalt see my glory soon, when the work of grace is done. Partner of my throne shall be. Say, poor sinner, lovest thou me? Lord, it is my chief complaint, that my love is weak and faint. Yet I love thee and adore. Oh, for grace to love thee more.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack.
Well, I find it very reassuring.
Yeah.
And do go and see the Turner exhibition, which is very illuminating along these lines.
Yeah, I'm sure we need to take advantage of those things while we may, because they may not be available to us much longer with the way things are going at the moment.
Well, right at the moment, since I was there, it's had to close down because of the pandemic.
Right.
But
okay.
on their website, they'll tell you, which days you can go and which you can't, if they manage to reopen, which they want to do, of course.
Okay. Well, thanks for that, Jack. We haven't got that much time left now, so can we move on to Alan?
Hi there.
Hi, Alan.
This is for my dad. It would have been his birthday yesterday, and he passed away sort of 9 years ago next week. And basically, after we did all the clearing and everything, I kept a coat of his, and so this is called Coat. I had to laugh today when I went for a walk. The wind blew a gale, so I wore your old grey coat. I remembered when I first saw it, and how we laughed as I took the nick. But you were adamant and said, you won't get a better coat than this. It was a bargain from Primani. It's really bloody warm, but I continued to laugh and joke as I told you, and said it's what the youngsters wear. A grey camouflaged hooded jacket. Are you sure that it's bloody warm? You look like a 70-something gang member from a South London estate. Your reply was, I don't care. It's so warm. It's great. As I walked the street, these thoughts made me smile. I was snug and cosy with the wind at bay. I had a little chuckle and thought about that day. It now keeps me warm and gives me the hugs you never gave. When out in these cold and bitter days, the hood up, the zip pulled high, it helps me shelter from the storm. And of course, you were right, it is bloody warm.
Very nice,
good.
Alan.
Yeah, good one.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Have you got another one for us?
I have. This is based on something off the television. Like most of us blokes do, we probably sit down at the end of the evening and now need to find out that the wife's got the controls and she's catching up on everything. And so this is about a TV program, and it's called Culinary Erotica. It's a TV cookery show for men. Nigella's on the box again, with her pantry full of jars, her little gasps and oohs and ahs. Her first recipe gives her so much pleasure. It's a chicken breast, a simple double dredger, giving it that extra crunch. Men across the country dream of double dredging with her after lunch. She then takes her first bite, hear her squealing with delight as she flashes her brown eyes from our TV screen. Male thoughts turn to something more obscene. My wife asks, do you need a cold flannel or should I change the channel? No, I'll be all right in a minute, as Nigella takes a bowl of mayo and plunges asparagus deep in it. Male viewers once again are pushed to the limit. She lets out another satisfying gasp. We roll our eyes, smile and laugh. Now she's purring and fluttering her big doe eyes, as across the country there are stirrings at the junctions of male thighs. The simplest things, when like she's slicing veg, can't distract us from her curvaceous breasts. Undaunted, she continues her culinary sexual language, even if she's only knocking up a sandwich. And when she's finally finished with her culinary flirting, men will be yearning for her culinary stirrings. Thank you.
Yeah. You see,
Yeah, she can make pickled cucumber seem sexy, can't she?
Yeah.
She can indeed.
I don't know if you guys read, she was slated by certain critics, television critics, not food critics, about 3-4 weeks ago, because she had the toast, which she buttered. The toast was hot, so it melted. And then she allowed it to sit for 5-10 minutes, and then she buttered it again. And Nigella, being Nigella, made a thing of this, you see. So she was slated for it, because...
Well, I don't know if you ever watched Gogglebox, but Gogglebox is quite funny. And apparently there was a lot of people wrote in when she was saying that she warmed something in the microwave.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear. Well, she's definitely upper middle class, so we'll let her get away with that one.
Yeah, well, I don't mind. Brightens up some evenings during the week. Thank you.
Yeah. John, have you anything for us, please?
Oh,
Crystal
right.
Palace
Yes.
wise.
No, but keeping to a television theme,
Mhm.
a couple of short extracts from Jukebox Jury, in which the DJ welcomes the viewers to the latest session, in which our resident panel of experts will be giving their opinions on some of the poems now current on the English scene. Our first piece comes from the 19th century. It's Billy Wordsworth and the Flower People, and goes under the title, The Daffodils. I wandered lonely as a cloud. Well, we know what happens in the rest of it. Okay, quick comments on this panel. Dreamy, what do you think? I think the answer does lie in the soil with this one. It reminds me of a very pleasant holiday I had once in the Lake District, camping out under a summer sky. Fortnight of sausages and baked beans, warm campfires, and the grass to lie on. That's what poetry is about as far as I'm concerned, reminding the listener of pleasant memories. I think this might well be a hit. Thank you. Artie, I did slightly wonder about one of the images, DJ. How did it go? I wandered lonely as a cloud. It's the word cloud. It didn't seem quite lonely enough. My own off-the-cuff suggestion would be something like, I wandered lonely as the last Tyrannosaurus. Of course, that might change the rhythm a bit, but I think it's a sort of poem needs some more work on it. Thank you. Maud, Dan Regan will catch on with the kids these days. Too many damn flowers and not enough down-to-earth muck. MS, I think he shows promise and ought to be encouraged. He might one day write something with a bit of punch. Perhaps if he concentrates more on people than clouds and lakes, he'll write something nearer the mark. Okay, well, let's have your votes, panel. Oh, right, 3-1 against. Sorry, Bill, but stick at it, boy. You never know. You might be wrong. One day, folk might get their words worth out of you. Our next little number comes from way back. So long, we're not even sure who wrote it. Some of you might find it familiar. Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin. Jack and Jill went up the hill, etc., etc., etc. Well, Artie, how did that grab you? It's got a certain political bite to it, this. Leaves you a lot of questions unanswered, though. I'd like to know who owned the hill. And why did they have to go all the way up the hill to get the water? Didn't they have any decent sanitation from where they came from? And also, who was Jack felled by? Some miserly well owner? The implications of this piece are profound, and I'd like to congratulate the writer on this brave piece of social satire. Maud, that's a load of hogwash. It's really all about the moon, a sort of myth. This Jack and Jill are like moon kids. First 2 weeks of a moon month, it don't rain quite so much as the last 2 weeks. Then it rains in bucketfuls. MS, typical male chauvinist poem, this. Not only have you got Jack wearing the crown, as if that wasn't bad enough, but Jill isn't even allowed to fall first. Must toe the line, come tumbling after. Definitely a miss in my book. And Dreamy, what do you think? I rather like this one. Reminded me of when I was a little boy, sitting in a pram in the park. Delightful time it was. Hey, yes, okay, well, thank you. Let's have your votes on this one, please. 3-1 on, eh? Looks as though it might stand a chance. Well, this is your DJ, David Jacobs, signing off. If you like this sort of modern music stuff, don't forget 6-5 Special with Pete Murray on the other channel. Good night.
Very good. I can relate to some of that.
Yeah. Well, that's the fifth time we've had a one-act play, I think, in Poets Anonymous. Well done, John.
John, I don't know if you saw it, but some time ago, I don't know which journalist it was, began a poem having gone to the Lake District and found it was so packed with people, he began his report with, "I wandered lonely as a crowd."
Oh,
Yes. Okay, can we move on to Mohammed now then, please? Mohammed.
Hello, George. Yes,
Hello,
hello everyone again.
yes.
Right, I have 3 more pieces to show off. And this is Happy at Hanukkah. The Muslim child Mina went to her Jewish friend's abode. Hanukkah had started, candles had been lit, and the bright temple was on everyone's minds. She ate with her friend Mia some dates and almonds, looking at gifts wrapped. She thought to herself, my Jewish friend is of all the best realms, and we are all free. Right. The next one is Toads by Bandy, who's North Korean, and his book translated by Heinz Insufankel. Toads, the long road go on. Only you toads are thriving. Croak, 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 croak. Dark black clouds, not a spot of sun to see, but still you enjoy it. This world, this time. Croak, croak, croak. Soaked, bloated by flood, your stylish red bellies. Croak, 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 croak. Your asses in the muck, your spirits rise. And yes, you enjoy it. This world, this time. Croak, 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 croak. The bad days go on. Mouths firm and vicious. Croak, 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 croak. Swept by the deluge, this destitute land. And still you enjoy it. This world, this time. Croak, 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 croak.
Very nice. Bit of anthropomorphism, if you can pronounce that one.
Oh yes, I know the word. I'm not going to try because I have to look at it on print before I do that. Anyway,
right.
Yeah. Right. So
you got another one, or you?
Yeah, I'm just gonna play a bit of music.
Mm-hmm.
All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small. All things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. Each little flower that opens, each little bird that sings, eat the glowing colors, He made their tiny wings. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small. All things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. Another one we used to sing at assembly. I learned when I was tiny. Thank you.
Right,
and
thank you very much, Mohammed. And you've spiritually uplifted us all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right, Norman, nice to have you for the second half.
I'll pass, George. I'm just listening.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Anne, have you any more for us, please? Anne?
Yes.
Am I muted? Yeah, all right.
I like poems which are surreal, existential, impressionist, and poems without capital letters or the support of punctuation. I like poems containing images which carry an emotional punch, even while you realize that in them many metaphors mean nothing. I like excited poems with compound adjectives and ejaculations in mid-line. I like poems written in a form, a sonnet say, which nevertheless reflect rebellion or anxiety by bursting through metrical restrictions. I'd like pointilliste poems if I could think of any. But my poems are none of these. Representational, anchored to the here and now, They do not aspire to philosophical speculation or transport the reader to new and different worlds. Small scale, domestic, they are not really what I admire. Best described perhaps as WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. They are simply what they are. That's all. Poet leads a humdrum life, cooking, cleaning, shopping, gardening. Suddenly a poem has you by the throat, which you have to deal with. Get it off you now at once before it strangles you. Ideas bubble up, red before the eyes, and always words. You have to let the poem have its head before it has yours. And the shopping, cleaning, washing, and the dinner are put on the back burner, even if the poem gets there first. Getting dressed, whatever the time of day, takes second place to capturing it on paper, at least the first, if not the final draft. These seizues, this continual abuse, make the humdrum extraordinary and rich and valued, though it does not show. Another little one. Question. If the poems of my youth were adolescent, are these scribblings of my age then senescent, or merely, like myself, you too, obsolescent?
No.
Thank you, Anne. You make it sound, like poetry's like wrestling with an angel all night, isn't it, really? You're kind of trying to get a grip on this wonderful thing that's running through your head. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Yeah. Jim. Yeah, sorry.
I love that line, George, wrestling with an angel. I've captured that. We need to develop that one.
Well, it's not original. It comes out of the Bible.
Yeah.
But yeah. Jim, have you anything for us, please?
Yeah. This is called I Could Have Been a Factory Worker. My father, self-made man and proud of his maker, had lofty dreams that my brother and I would work in a local factory and rise to a level very much below his own. My mother, seamstress with big hands, all the better to whack our heads with, lectured us on the inherent security of extremely low-paid jobs that nobody in their right mind would ever accept. And my so-called friend said, why not be a part-time cleaner in some local strip joint, sweep floors knee-deep in fly buttons, pinged from the trousers of old gentlemen, unable to contain their mounting excitement. But to me, these boys were a pure disgrace, the typical product of a single-sex school, hyenas shrieking around any lost soul who resembled a wounded antelope. I'd no wish at all to travel that road. So I gave up carpentry, metalwork, maths, did well in literature, art and French, then went to uni to learn about life, met girls with brains as good as their thighs. My father was angry, my mother cried. The factory worker was a dream that died.
Do you want to treat us to another one, Jim, or are you?
Just one more, yeah.
Yes, please.
They're called A True Gambler. I go into betting shops. I bet about 50 pence and all that sort of stuff, really, and don't like losing it. But some are not like this. A true gambler will seek the delirious prospect of self-destitution as if it were a mother's impending embrace. Will learn to engage with and respect fallen angels who glory in their losses like Christian martyrs. Will be redeemed and consoled by the silent, awestruck pity of other gamblers, will feign stoic indifference to initiates who scream abuse when attack slot machines with metal stools, will forever leap intact and brightly shining from the all-consuming jaws of addiction, will pursue redemption scenarios and the abiding wonder of spiritual rebirth, will ponce from others and be likewise ponced upon as they pursue multiple Odysseys and Golgothas, their ears forever attuned to myriad siren voices, will, after a big win, be seduced and transfigured by hosannas announcing their planetary importance, will deride the impending oblivion of time wasters who have never taken risks, have never truly lived.
Yeah, good one.
Thank you, Jim. Excellent. Thanks. You never
Thank you.
disappoint. You never disappoint. Now we come to Ted.
Talking about disappointing. Right, you
Oh.
love. We're still back in 2009. I'm also pleased to tell you that my computer has actually updated itself.
Very good.
It's not bad, is it? I deserve a little mechanical pat on the back. Anyway, this, thank you. Oh, it's now preparing Windows, right. Jackpot. And it's a rant again, and this apparently is the third one. I phoned the number in the letter 0901, several others too. Listened to music, not my choice, until a mechanical voice told me I had a selection of numbers to press on my handset, depending on the stars I'd scratched off the card. I pressed 5 and was again diverted to a man who asserted that if I gave him full addresses of my banks and their sort codes, he would send me my chosen prizes, regardless of the shapes and sizes, to my home address. And to ensure they were not misdirected, could I tell him when I was home? He was most concerned, and he didn't want to miss me. Or would I prefer to collect my gifts in a winners' meeting at the Grand Hotel? Quite far from me, Lancashire is quite away from Kent. A bit too far, but I nearly went. I'm waiting still. I've no regrets. The bank is looking into how I'm overdrawn, and the telephone bill is a little more than I usually get. But they have not cut me off yet. Coincident, I suspect, that my house was robbed when I was out. But the police expect to find the louse eventually. Anyway.
Oh dear.
Still hasn't changed. I won't say I get them daily, but there's everyone's numerable people wanting to know my sort code number and my account number, and they will send me £2.60 or something wonderful. Anyway, this is called Over 16. It's very flattering of you to ask me, but yes, I'm over 16. No, I don't have an identity card, and the cigarettes and whiskey I'm buying for myself. Yes, these are my children. They are not 16. No, I'm not buying these for them. You can see they are not old enough. I know you're only doing your job, but how many under 16-year-olds have an 8-year-old child and one in the pushchair? No, I don't have a reg book or a driving license. No, not even a passport. I came here by bus. The bus driver never asked if I had a school pass, and he charged me full fare. Do you want me to, do you want to see my bus ticket? Yes, I know they don't show birth dates. Look, I'm overweight, middle-aged, wearing clothes a 16-year-old wouldn't be seen dead in, and I'm trying to buy the family shopping. I understand it's the company's policy, but let me see the manager. You are the manager? And you never told me, and I'm your father. There you go.
Nice one, Ted. Nice one.
That's your lot. Thank you for listening.
I
Can
thought
I
it was
just
spring
say,
onions. Yeah.
Hey folks from Coventry, can I just say, I actually work on the checkouts at Sainsbury's 2 days a week.
Yeah. And
every girl, every woman, or whatever age, I challenge them whenever they are asking for alcohol. This dear old lady, she was about 95, and I challenged her. And she looked at me and she said, this is true, young man, Man, are you old enough to be selling it?
Brilliant.
Well, I thought I can't let her get away with that, you know, because everybody was killing themselves in laughter around.
Yeah.
So I sort of got up very, very slowly and said, do you want to see my bus pass?
Irma's classic was
Reverse of the poem.
Irma's classic was in Sainsbury's on Purley Way many years ago, and she addressed this. She shouted out to this young shelf filler, "Excuse me," she said, "where are your nuts?" And all the young kids collapsed in crippled up with laughter, and Irma wondered what was so funny. Yes. Anyway, Peter, have you something for us of a higher tone?
Yes.
Let's read a couple of poems by Sally Purcell, who used a lot of mythology in her work. This one is called The Scapegoat Old Year. It's quite appropriate for this year. The scapegoat old year hobbles out from the westward-facing door that has opened at last. Time and grief swirl in like the tide melting a sandcastle. Drive out the winter king, lord of sour pomegranates, with a weight of dark knowledge bound to his shoulders, nail his shadow to a tree. He is the grain flung out to die, the fool keeping safe in his wizened heart what the green hazels know. And another Sally Purcell is Walk a winter path. Walk a winter path between two rivers, where a white sun hangs trembling. Death sleeps on the water, and his dreams brood in the trees. This is your return to a place without ripeness, when fear hangs in the branches, and the stream writhes fast beneath you. Too late you will know that the circle is drawn about you, and the sleeper has wakened.
Thank you. Oops, hang on. Sorry, me thing's gone collapsed. Right, that's it.
You've got a very nice lampshade, George.
Yes. Tiffany. Well, it's not a real Tiffany, unfortunately. It is a real Tiffany. Oh, sorry, Emma. Tiffany. Anyway, right, I'm just going to finish up then with this is another pantoum I've just written, and it's about how children see things, and it's called Early Musings. It's the child who considers the smallest things, how a sprig of moss makes a miniature tree. Why are worms' bodies made up of rings? Who teaches the thrush to sing sweetly? How a sprig of moss makes a miniature tree. Why clouds seem to shade the golden wheat. Who teaches the thrush to sing sweetly? Why are the fallen apples too bad to eat? Why clouds seem to shade the golden wheat? What makes ants grow wings on the warmest day? Why are the fallen apples too bad to eat? Why are wasps not shy enough to stay away? What makes the ants grow wings on the warmest day? Why are worms' bodies made up of rings? Why are wasps not shy enough to stay away? It's the child who considers the smallest things. So that's that one. And,
Wow.
And this one is called Siddhartha at the Stream. Siddhartha at the Stream. Softly through the Surrey dawn, a misty world begins to form. An image on a silver screen, a mute swan's shape comes into being. Slow gliding feathers of white snow seem to make the daybreak glow, not with a sunset's ruddy fire or a nighttime moon of soft desire. These gentle shades of grey content to be the path to this day's enlightenment. So there we go.
Mm.
Mm.
Very nice.
Well,
That was
peace be
good.
with you all. So
And to you.
it's been nice, hasn't it? I've enjoyed today.
Yep. Good as always.
Thank you for emceeing, George.
Okay, well, have a great Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.
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 Happy Christmas and a Happy
Thank
New
you,
Year.
everyone.
Yeah,
Happy
happy New Year.
Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, and a good
New
meeting.
Year.
All the best,
Yeah.
everybody.
And see,
So we-
see you on the 1st.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
decided the
Yeah, Zoom.
first, everybody. Yeah. So hangovers apart, we should be here on the first.
New Year, 2021.
Yeah.
So Norman will be off to Hogmanay, and you'd be Hogmanay and Norman. First
Can you
foot
hear
in.
me?
Yeah, will you be first foot in?
No, not first footing. No, no. Yeah, you've just reminded me about a subject matter that I could write about, because oh my goodness, when I was underage, actually 15, 16, 17, that it was still in full swing where I was brought up, you know. Anyway, that's another story, but yeah, it's all changed now. But I just hope, I wish everybody, the most important thing, I'm just reflecting, you know, with my wife earlier today, and you know, if we stay healthy, I mean, what can I say? It's got to be number one right now. You know, friends, family are so important as well. But you know, just touch wood, staying healthy is an achievement, I think. You know.
Yeah, I think in a strange way we've all come closer in this thing. You know, certainly by this Zoom thing, it's, you know, you kind of get to know people on a different level. So it's got its blessings.
Yeah, I mean, again, I was thinking earlier that the ironic thing about lockdown is that certain things happen in life that you know, are beneficial. And for me, I've had difficulty mainly through my work in that, being able to join up with you guys face to face for about the last, probably 12 years or so. Certainly 8, 9 years, something like that. So Zoom, I mean, what can I say? You know, it's like we're all sort of, you know, I feel as if we know each other much, much better.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like family coming together sort of thing. And, you know, that is one benefit. I know that's not many, but that's certainly one. It'll never, you know, I wish we were all together, you know, obviously, but there you go.
Yeah. Well, it's probably going to be a feature of Poets Anonymous, I would think, Peter, wouldn't you, that we could keep this going?
Yes.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yes. I'm going to sign off now, please.
Okay, Jack, I think we're all ready
Bye-bye,
for
Jack.
our drink soon.
Happy everybody.
Happy Christmas, Jack.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks
All
for
the
your
best.
classic poems, Jack.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Right.